You again, your friendly neighborhood DM, here with part 5 of How to Build a Character Fighter Edition. Wow, guys, we've been moving on at a clip here. I'm going to get this all done in one day here. How about that? So we are looking at our fighter so far. Last video, we selected our class. As I said, we're making a fighter. We already knew that, but there was just a little couple of things that we wanted to talk about along with that. All right, so next we're going to go to the next page here, and we're going to finally increase our ability scores. If you look here to the blue little thing, you have the option of changing, increasing your ability score based on your race. That option we did not use earlier because we wanted to do it here. It's here. You don't have to go back to do it. So go down and take a look at that. You've got your wisdom, you've got your intelligence, charisma, strength, dexterity, constitution. But how are we going to get these scores? Great questions, guys. We've got 3 options, your standard array. So let's just take a look at the standard array just to talk about it. I'm not going to be using it, and I'll explain to you why, even though it's great to do. So if you look here, you can see you've got options. You can pick 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. So those are the scores. That is the standard array of scores that you can use and put anywhere you want. Cool. So in our fighter, if we were going to use the standard array, which we won't, but if we were, the first score I would put up and use the 15 on is I have to use strength. Strength, you're a fighter, you've got to have a high strength. Dexterity is up there. Constitution is up there. And then frankly, intelligent, wisdoms, and charisma, you can put whatever scores are left over anywhere you want. And that just flavors the type of character that you want to be. So that's the standard array. It picks choices for you and you put them where you want them. Point buy system. It's kind of like the standard array. So you've got these points. You get 27 points. And right now, you'll look at the scores. They all say 8. 8 strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So you're going to use those points to buy higher scores. But if you look here, you see to get a 9, it just takes 1 point. But to get 10, it takes 2, 11 to 3, and gives you an option all the way up to 15. So if you wanted to, we talked about how the most important ones are strength, dexterity, constitution. But let me show you what happens if you decide, I'm going to max all 3 of those out for this character because that's what's important to me. Well, you just max those 3 out. Cool, great. You got your 15 in each of them. Keep in mind, 20 is actually the maximum. All right, that's the maximum score you can have. But you've got pretty good in that. But you know what? You got 8 intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. That's no bueno. So to give you an idea, a 10 in any of these scores is your average human. So 8, basically what these scores are telling you with 8 is you're dumb, you don't make good decisions, and no one likes you. Listen, maybe that's a character you want to play, but not necessarily me. So you know what we're going to do? You can switch those scores around, make it so you've got a little more charisma, a little more wisdom, a little more intelligence, but then you're affecting your strength, dexterity, and constitution. So it's all about what's important to you. So our last option, my favorite option, the classic option, is to roll for score. Why do I love this? 1, it's what was the original. A small caveat to that. People are like, oh, if you're playing D&D and you don't have dice, like you can't really call yourself a D&D player. Well, you want to know what the original D&D players used? Ticket paper. There were no dice. I'm not saying dice didn't exist, but if you think about when D&D existed, that just wasn't an option. They were expensive. So what did these guys use? They used a little piece of the paper, and you picked a number from a bag. So you can play D&D without dice, guys. You don't need to buy your own dice. Don't feel bad for, I play in D&D, but I only ever use the app. It's all the same, man. It's not a big deal. So anyway, here we go. Manual/rolled. So you're going to roll 6 die. And you're going to just, it's that simple. You're going to roll 6 die, and you're going to notice that, oh, 4 die got rolled. Well, that's how it works. So if you look here, it says 14, but I rolled a 1, a 6, and I think 2 4s. I don't even remember. That 1, yeah, 2, 6, 4, 4, and 1. It says right there. Perfect. You'll notice that 1 is gray. The lowest number of those 4 X'd out. Don't worry about it. So we're left with 6, a 4, and a 4 for 14. That's not bad, guys. Let's roll again. A 10. As I said, 10 is your average person. 10 is not bad. I'm not going to put my strength as 10 as a fighter, but hey, I'll put my intelligence as a 10. No problem. So 11 to me is the same as a 10, but with a little difference. You're not going to gain anything from that. And we're going to explain to you why when we talk about your modifiers. So 10 and 11 are basically the same, but there's a little extra you can do with an 11, and I'll explain to you why when we get to that step. 13, a lot like an 11. So you'll notice I'm talking about odd numbers here, but more like a 12. Again, we're rolling pretty good, guys. Are you starting to see why I always try to roll for scores? You statistically get better. And it's customized. 15, that's as high as you could get with the other methods. But so if anyone here's doing the math, if you're rolling 4 dice and you drop the lowest, the highest you can get if you roll 18. So that's pretty good. Another 15. Look at this, guys. We rolled really good. Anyone who's played for a while will see these rolls and just be like, that's some solid rolling. So now we're going to talk about where we are going to these scores. Obviously, like I said, we're not doing magic. So what's important to us? Strength, dexterity, constitution. What do these do? All right, strength is how hard you hit. In my other video, that hour-long video that took too long, I used the tomato analogy. I'm going to use it here. Strength, your ability to crush a tomato. Dexterity, your ability to peel a tomato. Constitution, your ability to eat a rotten tomato and not get sick. Intelligence is your ability to understand that tomato is a fruit and not a vegetable. Wisdom is your ability to understand that yes, a tomato is a fruit, but it does not belong in a fruit salad. Charisma is your ability to sell people a tomato-based fruit salad. And my joke that I said last time, and I'll say it here, tomato-based fruit salad is called salsa, and that's delicious, and that's why I play a warlock and bards people. Hey, charisma-based characters. So our highest scores, we're going to go ahead and put on our strength, dexterity, and constitution. Now, remember, we have those increases from earlier. This is where they come into play. So before we start assigning roles, I want to talk about modifiers. Again, we're getting into the meats and potatoes of building a character here, guys. So modifiers are calculated based on your ability score. So in the positive direction, i.e. above 10, for every 2 above 10 up to 20, well, make it simple. For every 2 above 10, you gain 1 as your modifier. So a 10, you gain nothing. So this 10, you get plus 0. But that also means this plus 11, you also get a plus 0. See where I'm going with this. Plus 12, you get a plus 1. Plus 13, you still only get a plus 1. 14, you get a plus 2. 15, you still only get a plus 2. So what do we do with these scores? Well, we're going to try to figure out a way to make these odd numbers into even numbers. And that is where our ability score increases from our race and our class come into play, or our feat in this case come into play. So I'm going to start assigning things because I already kind of know what I want to do and how I want to do this. And once you see it, you're going to go, yes, gotcha. So we're going to go strength 15. Then we're going to go dexterity 15. And you're going like, dexterity? Why dexterity? Well, dexterity helps calculate your armor class. Basically, dexterity takes into account your ability to not get hit. Dexterity is part of your ability to not get hit. So having a high dexterity when you're going to be out on the front lines is important. Next important, it's got to be that constitution. So constitution is going to affect your hit points, your health. So we've got a couple of ways we can play this. First thing what I want to do is I want to actually, because I've assigned strength and dexterity as 15, I'm going to actually go ahead and increase my strength and dexterity by 1 using my racial variant human ability increase. So that moves it to 16, which, as I said, remember, every 2 above you get a +1. Every and then it's the converse if you go below 10. So then we were talking about our constitution. Sorry, the dog got me there. I'm going to go ahead and make my constitution 14. And we're going to actually move things around here, and you'll see why as I do this. We're going to change this to Constitution. No, I take that back. We're going to change this to Wisdom, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. Because we're going to assign Wisdom to a 13. So now our Wisdom with that ability score increase is now a 14, which is the same as our Constitution. But if you remember, when we chose our race, we chose a feat. That feat gave us the opportunity to increase our strength or dexterity by 1, but not our constitution. So we're going to go ahead and increase our strength by 1. Which will result just double checking here. Yep, which will result in our strength being 16. So you see, you just gotta know, do the math and try to figure out how to best use your ability score increases to make the most effective character. Now, there's a concept called min-maxers, which basically are people who are obsessed with making the statistically best character they can. I don't think I'm a min-maxer. Some might say I am, and I can be. But, being effective is fun, and that's what we're here for. We're all here to have fun. So there's a balance. So yeah, maybe you don't want to go so far into making the most uber perfect character who can never lose and is great at everything or whatever. Maybe you don't want to make that, but you want to have some flaws in there, don't you? You know what I mean? You want to have, your character needs quirks. Your character needs to be interesting. So keep that in mind when you make a character. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you like to just beat stuff up and be as powerful as you can be right out of the gate all the time, every time. That's an option. Both are good options, as long as your character is still playable and it's fun for other characters to play with. Okay? Because if your character is not fun to be around because of the way you made it, that's a problem for the table. So just remember, we all got to play this game together, right, folks? All right. So now we're left with intelligence and charisma. And in all honesty, you can throw either one into either of them. It doesn't really make a difference. That's what I've settled on. And frankly, I chose them randomly. So you're going to press apply ability scores, and you're going to see it's going to populate up here. And underneath it says total. And you're going to see total strength 16, dexterity 16, constitution 14, intelligence 11, wisdom 14, charisma 10. Great job, guys. This is pretty good for a first level character. Great, in fact. And if you go down here, you'll see the modifiers right there underneath. So your base score is what you put into it. You get 1 from a miscellaneous bonus from your feat, or 1 from your racial bonus to your dexterity, because human. It gives you the layoff what you have done. So strength +3, dexterity +3, constitution +2, intelligence +0, but you're not losing anything. Wisdom +2, charisma +0. Great job, guys. We've, at this point, this is a functional character. You could bring this to a campaign and you would be able to play-ish, as long as you've chosen your equipment, which is going to be coming up soon, I promise. But guys, at this point, you've done the hardest parts of creating your character. So, give yourself a pat on the back, guys. And again,